Next up on my mount, maybe a little bit of a controversial choice in some eyes, Muhammad Ali. My favorite athlete growing up, and I cannot omit him from my Rushmore. He wasn't always the most dedicated. He wasn't always the most disciplined. He rose and he fell. He rose and he fell, and he rose. And yet, I want to make it clear, this has zero to do with Muhammad out of the ring. In his day, 60s, 70s, he took loud, profound, powerful stands against racism at a time nobody did as a superstar athlete. Nobody did. And obviously he refused to fight in a war he just did not believe in Vietnam, and it cost him the prime of his career. But that's not about this. Muhammad Ali was the most courageous fighter I ever watched, I ever studied. Young Ali, he beat you with his speed and his style. Older Ali, he beat you with his guts and his guile, his pain threshold and his will, and his strategic genius. Never seen anything like him in the ring. He was all about failing and overcoming. Failing and overcoming. No superstar has ever fought back any more than Ali did, because he lost the first fight to Joe Frazier at Madison Square Garden. It was a spectacle, and he lost it fair and square. And he fought back, and he beat Smokin' Joe the second time at Madison Square Garden, and then they nearly killed each other in the Thrilla in Manila. I've never seen anything like that. Nearly killed each other. Both wound up in the hospital. I'm not sure Ali ever quite recovered from it. They were both about ready to quit. And in the end, Joe threw in the towel, or at least his corner did. That's Ali. Ali lost to Ken Norton. Norton broke his jaw, and he bounced back and beat him twice. He lost the first time to Leon Spinks, did Ali. I was there. I covered it. He just didn't take it very seriously. And he bounced back, and I was there in New Orleans, and he got even with Leon Spinks. He didn't always keep himself in the greatest of shape. He stayed too long. His brain got battered. I was there when he fought Larry Holmes, and I picked him to win the fight with my heart and not my head. And Ali had no business in the ring with Larry Holmes at that point, and it was a mismatch of near fatal depth, because he took another battering and beating. And I was there for his last fight. Saddest sports event I've ever covered. He did it just for the money, and I can't believe there was much money in it, because they had cowbells between rounds to signal the start of the next round. It was Trevor Berbick who just toyed with Ali. I get all that. But the single greatest mind/body feat I've ever witnessed in sports was October 1st, 1975. I watched it only on closed circuit because it was in Kinshasa, Zaire. It was called the Rumble in the Jungle. And it was Ali against the Beast, who was George Foreman, who had beaten Joe Frazier, beaten him up. And George Foreman was just a bear of a man at that point. He was sullen and distant and flat out scary, and members of Ali's entourage, his corner, they didn't want him to fight because they thought he was literally going to get killed by George Foreman. I thought he literally might get hurt by George Foreman. And out comes Ali with a strategy nobody saw coming, especially the Beast, George Foreman. Rope-a-dope. He rope-a-doped him. He went and leaned against the ropes, and he let George Foreman just batter away at his midsection, at his stomach. Bam, 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 bam. Is that all you got? Kept asking him, is that all you got? Is that all you got? And George Foreman wore himself out just hitting the punching bag that was Ali's stomach. He had trained for it, obviously. He was ready for it. 5th round, Ali's like, yeah, that's all you got. And he dropped him. It was just pure Rushmore. Ali belongs. I hope you enjoyed that video. You ready for more? Make sure you click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from the Skip Bayless Show. And don't forget to check out the full episode of the show wherever you get your podcasts by clicking the link in the description.